We all are familiar with the term relaxation, but we never sit to ponder over the fact that what exactly is relaxation. We tend to sit somewhere, sit free, and we say we are relaxed. So this session is going to be devoted to look at what is relaxation at the physiological level, beneficial level, therapeutic level, etc. So what are we going to cover in relaxation? First, what is relaxation? Then the benefits of relaxation, techniques that can be learned, and the difference between relaxation and meditation. We have just had the series on stress, and as part of that, we have looked at what is the fight or flight response. And the fight or flight response is basically an adrenaline charged up energy that comes out of nowhere when you're presented with a stimuli and your body says stress, react. And you either get ready to fight or you get ready to run away. And these are the chemicals that charge you up and make your body ready to defend yourself and save yourself. So, fight or flight response, when you look at it closely, is basically talking about the symptoms that happen. The mind and body is set on high alert. Rapid breathing occurs to help divert blood to the vital organs. You have a tunnel vision focused on your danger. Adrenaline increases your heart rate, sending blood to major muscle groups to prepare for action. Increase in sweat so that the body doesn't overheat. Stomach produces extra juice and digestive juices. Muscle tense up to prepare for a quick departure and to make the body more resilient to attack. And blood vessels to the skin constricted, reducing any potential blood loss, especially in hands and feet. Okay, so that's fairly straightforward. Now, under the stress banner of under the stress video, you looked at what is the normal functioning of the body. So we'll basically briefly touch on that. We all know that there is arbitrary levels of essential stress, optimum stress, and there is the upper limit. And that is the normal functioning of the body. Now, as part of that, we all require essential stress to survive. We require optimal stress to have a satisfying, enjoyable day. And if we hit the upper limit, we tend to start developing cracks in our system, and we fail, and we find that we crack up, we may break down, we may cry, we may not perform as well at different levels. So what is the body's stress response to a stimuli? The physiological responses, again under the stress banner, stress video, we have seen this. Your heart rate goes up, your blood pressure goes up, breathing rate goes up, sweating response goes up, we sweat more. Your breathing depth reduces, so you start breathing shallow. Your skin resistance drops. And these are well documented physiological responses of the body. Now we have also talked of stress stimuli that create stress and the symptoms that are experienced as part of stress. What you'll be surprised to know, or what is interesting, is the fact that the stimuli can be physical, mental, emotional, or spiritual. And these stimuli need not be purely physical, purely mental, purely emotional, or purely spiritual. They can be a combination of any of these. Similarly, the symptoms that one suffers as an effect of stress can also be physical. People can get physically sick. People can get mentally affected. They lose concentration. They lose sort of ability to focus, etc. Ability to think, memory problems, etc. People get emotionally affected. They get angry. They get frustrated. They get into shock. They get fearful, etc. And it can affect some people at the spiritual level depending on what the stimuli is and what the response is. So you may lose trust in people, you may have attitudinal changes, etc. So looking at all that, we looked a bit about stress management and the management strategies in general are lifestyle, rest, sleep, recovery, diet, etc. The body stressors that you might be influencing the body negatively, maybe if you're carrying excess weight, if you're not so fit, if you're a smoker, drinker, etc., that is adding to the burden. Having a positive attitude to life, the half glass full philosophy instead of the half glass empty philosophy, helps you to manage your stress better. And remembering that every day ends at the end of the evening and night, and the next day is a new sunrise, a new day, so you can look forward to a new day every day, and that helps you tide over some of the basics. The other stress management strategies are time management, assertiveness. For example, somebody might ask you to be doing a lot of stuff that you don't feel comfortable, and you might want to sort of step back and say, okay, look, I can't really do this today. I would like to do it tomorrow, or I don't think that is part of my job, but I can do it if you want me to, but you might need to renegotiate something, or it is out of the purview of my skill set and I can't really do a fair job about it, so please forgive me and let me go ahead and do my job. Goal setting, communication. Now, goal setting is very important. It is important to set realistic goals. We tend to be unrealistic about goals. We have a bit of a dreamer attitude, and then we get lost. Communication is very important. We don't share our information with people. We keep it within ourselves and expect others to understand exactly how I feel and what I want, which is unfair. Now, in stress management, we have adaptation strategies. Now, adaptation strategies are strategies that are going to help you offset the effects of stressful stimuli or your response to the stimuli, the stress reaction as we talked about. So, yoga is one. Joy is another, keeping yourself happy. Tai Chi is another Chinese exercise which helps you do that. Pranayama is breathing exercise which helps you develop your body to offset some of the effects. Meditation is something that you can do to offset the stimuli itself. Exercise and getting fit helps you get over some of the effects of stress. Massage is something that forces you to get rid of the physiological aspects of stress that may have collected in your body. Acupressure is a treatment technique. Religious festivals is where you let yourself go free and relax and enjoy yourself. Laughing club is another such strategy that helps people. A lot of people have found laughing clubs great. One of the things that surprised me a lot of times is laughing clubs are essentially great pranayama exercises because you're laughing for maybe 10, 20, 30, 40 seconds in a big manner, something like ha 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 ha. So when you're doing these things, you're exhaling all your stale air out. Naturally, you're going to breathe in deeper. And if you do that for 15, 20 minutes, you're getting a good pranayama exercise without realizing that you're having to do pranayama. Of course, it may not be the same as pranayama because pranayama has got set protocols and set benefits and set effects. And lastly, stress management strategies are about relaxation. And I've brought you to this because we are going to now be talking about relaxation. So, question about relaxation. Why relaxation? Relaxation because relaxation is easier to learn. We know that there are proven benefits of relaxation on the physiological effects of the body. And there are tools available to evaluate some of the relaxation changes and tools in different relaxation techniques as well. So now when we talk about body responses, the physiological effect of relaxation on the body. You will notice that due to stress, our heart rate goes up, blood pressure goes up, breathing rate goes up, sweating increases, which we have talked about before. And the breathing rate or shallowness of breathing increases, breathing depth reduces, skin resistance reduces. Relaxation shows a complete converse of that. So if your ability to relax has improved, you will actually find your heart rate drops, your blood pressure drops, your breathing rate drops, which means you start breathing deeper, your sweating response drops, your breathing depth increases, so you're not breathing shallow anymore, your skin resistance increases. And these are proven facts. I'm not talking about it myself, these are physiological facts proven in the laboratory. So the relaxation response is adrenal glands no longer produce stress hormones. The hypothalamus of the brain causes the pituitary gland and the involuntary nervous system to bring about relaxation change, breathing changes, heart rate changes, sweating responses decrease, low electrical activity in muscles, so less stimulation of the muscles. So these have been proven to show that relaxation response elicits all these responses. Now we talk about relaxation and sleep, just to give you a perspective. We talked about sleep, and in the chapter on sleep I showed the same graph, but I'll repeat it again and I'll talk in depth this time more about relaxation. We know from sleep that over an 8-hour period, if we sleep deep like a log without disturbance, without any hindrance, without dreams, nightmares, etc., it takes us about 2 to 3 hours to get into deep sleep. We stay there for between 1 to 2 hours, and it takes us about 3 hours to come out of deep sleep back to the normal awake state. And when we get into deep sleep and stay at that deep sleep level, we find that the amount of oxygen we use as compared to in the resting phase, in the awake state, we use 100% oxygen. If we compare with that, we use 8% less oxygen when we are in deep sleep. Please be careful. That does not mean we are suffering lack of oxygen. I'll repeat it again. Please be careful. That does not mean we are suffering lack of oxygen in the middle of sleep. What it means is our body is so relaxed and efficient that we don't require that much oxygen to keep our body working. So your heart rate, your breathing, your responses, your muscle tension, etc. would have dropped so much that 8% less oxygen is adequate to maintain you. Now we are not talking about sleep apnea, okay? That's a different ball game altogether, so don't confuse issues. Now, when we look at the orange line, which talks about relaxation, and it's a comparative graph here between relaxation and sleep, it was observed long time ago that when people go into deep relaxation with training, of course, it doesn't happen overnight. People have been trained for 6 months or a few years before they can learn to go into deep relaxation just at the drop of a hat. Within few minutes, they can go into deep relaxation. They stay into deep relaxation as long as possible, or as long as they are advised to, and then they come out of deep relaxation straight to the awake state. So their graph looks like a barrel, the orange line, where it drops from being awake straight into deep relaxation within minutes, and as long as they are in deep relaxation, they stay there. The interesting thing to note is if they go into deep relaxation for half an hour, during that half hour, their body oxygen consumption drops to minus 12%, which is suggestive that deep relaxation, when done properly with training and practice, can get your body much more relaxed and optimized than deep sleep. And then no wonder when people go into deep relaxation for half an hour and come out, they feel very much recharged because their body has been optimized a lot. Now let me add at this stage, without any doubt, that meditation is a lot better than relaxation. Okay, there's a big difference between sleep, relaxation, and meditation, going much further into in depth. But I'll suffice and stop there. We might touch on it a bit more during meditation. So what are the other strategies for stress management and relaxation? Firstly, worry. Worry is one of the big issues that we cannot manage and we suffer. Worry is a massive problem. And one of the big things with worries is we never have a favorable outcome. It always gets darker and darker and darker. What do I mean by that? Suppose I'm living with my wife at home. I go to work every day, leave at 8:30, get to work by 9:30, come home by about 6:30. One fine day, I don't come home till about 9:30, 10 o'clock. And I have not phoned, my mobile is not working, or I'm uncontactable. And what is happening at home? I'm supposed to be home at 6:30. By 7 o'clock, the flag starts going higher to say, oh, why has he not yet come? Why is Anand not yet home? What's happening? Wonder what went wrong. He's riding a two-wheeler. Would he have had an accident? And you say, okay, it will be. By 8 o'clock, the thermometer has risen further. It's like, oh, it can't be. I better ring a few friends. And they will try to call a few friends. She will try to connect and no contact, no news of where Anand is. So tensions go up. By 9:30, she is getting into a panic state, thinking, should I go to the police station? Should I go to a hospital? Would he had an accident? If he had an accident, he would have rung me. If he had an accident, he would have rung me to say, I'm just hurt, not too bad, I'm safe, don't worry, etc., etc. But there's no call. So does that mean he's unconscious? Does that mean he's had a head injury? Does that mean something else is gone on? Is he in ICU? And you don't know whether to go to the coppers or whether to go to the police or whether to go to the hospital and look for somebody. And then you start worrying about all these things, including thinking of, is he dead? And at 10:30, ding dong, the bell rings and Anand pops in. And the wife looks at him and goes, oh, you're home. Thank God for that. Possibly I get a big hug and then I get the third degree. And when I turn around and say, oh, look, Joe Blow had a party there because he got a promotion, so we were at a party, my phone was not working, so I didn't think much about it. There was nothing wrong. Nowhere in your worrying nature, anybody's, not that lady's, anybody's worrying nature, do you think of a possibility that everything is okay, hunky-dory, no worries, don't worry, all will be good. We always think the negative, and the negative gets darker and darker and darker. And it is like for those 2-3 hours, you are going through hell. And that is one of the biggest problems of worry. And we need to change that if we can. And I think we all can. And let us see how we can help you there. So, to help you there, we need to redefine worry. I redefined worry way back in 1980s when I was working in the cardiac unit at a hospital in Sydney, because I felt this was important, and I noticed that a lot of people, cardiac patients, were worrying, and worry creates problems for the heart. It makes the heart work harder, and that doesn't help the cause. And worry could be of any nature, but worry is a worry. So I had to define it for my patients to see how can I define worry such that it doesn't influence us to stop our thinking. And then I came up with this. Worry is a thought process. We all know worry is only thinking. There is no action there. Where you are unable to influence the outcome of the situation. Now this means whatever your thought process is, it does not change the person at the other end, or it does not influence them in any way. Now, where you're thinking of solving a problem, where you're thinking of designing something, you're sitting on paper and worrying about the thought process of some program or something, that is a constructive activity. I'm not talking about that. But suppose you're a programmer and you're writing a program and you're in the process of thinking of how to do it better and whatever, and then you've done it and then you put it across and sat back, and now you worry about, will it sell well? Will my competitors do better? Have they come out earlier? What should I do? How can I work? That's a great risk, etc., etc. That is waste of energy. Your constructive work in the thinking, solving problem area was beautiful thinking. But sitting back and worrying about things where you are unable to influence the outcome of the situation is pure worry, and that is something you do not need to do. Get into action, do things, and leave it be. So I'll repeat my definition again. Redefining Worry by Anand Bapat. Worry is a thought process where you are unable to influence the outcome of the situation. And if you take any kind of thought process that you're going through and you look at this definition, and if it fits in that definition, then it's worry. If it doesn't fit in that definition, you're doing something productive, whether it is planning a menu, whether it is planning a wedding, if you're doing something constructive, it is not worry. But after planning the menu, planning the wedding, doing everything, and then sitting back and saying, do you think the printer may have got it right? Do you think the printer may make a mistake? Do you think this could happen? Do you think that could happen? And making a mountain out of a molehill is pure worry. And that is unwarranted, according to me. And I think we can all change it. I give my personal example here. When I was living overseas, there was a time when I was worried about my father's health post-retirement. And it came to a point that I was worrying a bit too much. And one fine day, I looked at myself and said, "Hey, Anand, what are you doing? You're being stupid here. You're living in a foreign country 10,000 kilometers away. Your worrying is not going to change his health. What will be, will be. So you sitting here and worrying is not going to do anything. Are you in a position to leave everything here, go there and sit with him for the next 2 years?" And I thought about it and said, "No, I can't do that." "So what can you do?" I said, "I can't really do anything. In the worst case scenario, if I hear some bad news, I can go there immediately and be there for 4, 6, 8 weeks at the most, if I have that much leave. And even that is limited. After that, I have to come back." So I geared myself differently. I said, "Oh, don't be ridiculous. Don't do that. But keep a backup plan." So I always had enough cash in the bank to have a flight ticket ready to go to India at any cost if I required to go there under emergency circumstances. And that way my worry reduced. And over time I found that what I was worrying a lot about, I brought it down to between 10 to 15%. And it changed my life a lot. Since then, I worry very little about anything and everything. People think I don't care, but it's not the non-caring attitude, it's the not worrying attitude. Because if it is out of your hands and your thoughts cannot change it, don't bother. I hope I've made my point here. So, what are the benefits of relaxation? Now, we know that relaxation brings down the heart rate. We showed you the physiological studies there. So, let's just take the heart rate as such. Let's take the heart rate as a minimum of 78. Now, if through relaxation practice you can reduce your heart rate by 1 beat per minute, so you bring it down to 77. Do you realize that you're reducing the load on your heart by 60 beats per hour, and every day your heart will beat 1440 times less per day? I'm going to repeat it again. I'm going to start all over again. Let's consider the heart rate. If your natural heart rate is 78 beats per minute, and this is objective quantifiable data here. If you are able to reduce it by 1 beat per minute due to relaxation strategies being implemented, or for that matter any strategy, but I'm talking about relaxation now because we know relaxation reduces heart rate. So a good trained person in relaxation should be able to reduce their heart rate by a few beats per minute. But just for the sake of argument, I'm taking only 1 beat per minute. 1 beat per minute, incremental change is 60 beats per hour. Incremental change over the full day is 1440 beats per day, and you can do the calculations henceforth about per month and per year. How much less load are you putting on your heart? If you just contemplate that, you'll be shocked to find that you can reduce the load on your heart, burden on your heart drastically by practicing relaxation as only one of the strategies. Of course, all the other stress management strategies, reduce worry, etc., is also going to contribute towards reducing your heart rate. Similar effects with breathing rate as well. So if the average breathing rate is 12 to 14 breaths per minute, and your normal is about 8 to 10 breaths per minute, but if you're able to drop it to 7 breaths per minute because you're fitter, you're healthier, etc. And by the way, sportsmen who are very fit naturally tend to have a lower breathing rate, lower heart rate. As if any of you know, Bjorn Borg used to have a heart rate, resting heart rate of 55 beats per minute. So now you can understand why he wouldn't even raise a sweat for his heart when he's pumping blood out at maybe 100 beats per minute, whereas all the other players are doing 120, 130 beats per minute. So he's quite relaxed even at that level. But his heart rate, resting heart rate, was 55 beats per minute. Amount of saving that he was doing for his body. Now, some of it may be natural, some of it may be developed, but we can all develop some of these qualities. So, as I said, similar with the breathing rate, if you can drop the breathing rate by 1 breath per minute, again, over an hour, you have dropped maybe 60 breaths an hour. And that's a lot of breaths in the day. So the loading on the body is reduced. So stress management, relaxation, what are we looking at? The stressors you can avoid. So where you can avoid the stressors, avoid them. Where you can modify them by either shunning the stimuli or reacting differently, you modify them. A lot of us contribute to our stressors by stimulating discussion, having arguments, etc. Some of the stressors we create for ourselves. For example, time management. I have an 8-hour routine. I slot in a 9-hour program and then wonder why getting from A to B, I should have been there 5 minutes ago, but I'm not there because of a traffic jam, etc. And they are getting worked up. A common failing of us is when we do time management. If we have an appointment at 7, we finish at 8, and the next appointment is at 8:30, and that is maybe 20 kilometers away, which takes us 15 minutes to drive. We forget that we need to walk to the car or motorbike. We need to get off at the other end. Most of these buildings are huge, so walking may take 5 or 10 minutes each way. And then if your appointment at 7 o'clock gets delayed and you finish at 5 past or 8 past 10, then you're driving like mad, bumping up the adrenaline to get there in time. You're rushing there at 8:30 and apologizing and saying, sorry, my previous appointment was this, that, and everything. But you could have allowed for that time and made that appointment at 8:45, so you could have cool and calmly walked in at 8:40, nice and relaxed to attend to your appointment confidently and calmly rather than in a mad rush with adrenaline rushing all around and feeling guilty. These are some simple strategies. Now, of course, there are some stressors you cannot avoid at all. So that you should keep your energies reserved for managing that part of your life. Now the relaxation techniques. In India, people talk about yoga and people talk about shavasan. Now shavasan is a very powerful tool when done properly. But shavasan means lying like a dead body, which means no influence at all, totally relaxed, your whole body sinks into the floor or the mattress or the mat, wherever you're lying. But a lot of people think you can just close your eyes, listen to the music, be stimulated, think about things, and that is shavasana, which is a fallacy. Shavasana means there's no thought process, there's nothing, and you are completely gone out of this world. Then there is physical relaxation. Physical relaxation is a technique of relaxation where people are taught how to relax physically, the different muscles, the different joints, and let go and let go and let go. Now all these things takes good 20-minute session for each of these techniques, whether it's shavasana, whether it's physical relaxation, whether it's breathing, breathing imagery. And these are all known techniques of relaxation, but if you have an avenue to learn from somebody about a breathing technique for relaxation or an imagery technique for relaxation, physical relaxation or shavasana, please practice that and benefit from it. The other thing, do not think that if you practice shavasana, you are relaxed only in shavasana. The effects of that relaxation carry throughout the day. So it might mean you drop 1 heartbeat per minute. Over time, of course, not because you did shavasana today, but if you have learned to do shavasana properly for say 3 months, you might find your heartbeat has dropped by 1 beat per minute. Now maintaining that shavasana every day, you might actually maintain that 1 beat per minute less load on your heart and benefit. Same thing with physical relaxation, same thing with other techniques of relaxation. So now to sum up, what did we know in this session? We talked a bit about stress, which we had already talked about, but just recapped on it. Then we talked a fair bit about relaxation and the difference between relaxation, sleep and meditation, the benefits of deep relaxation, how it attunes the body and optimizes it. We talked about the benefits of relaxation in terms of the heart rate, breathing rate, etc., and how the physiological responses shift towards positivity with relaxation as compared to effects of stress. We talked about actual benefits for you in terms of reducing the heart rate or reducing the breathing rate and the carry-on effect it has over the whole day and over your life if you can reduce the load on your heart and your lungs and make it more efficient. We touched on worry, which is something very important, and a lot of us are worriers anyway, and what is the correct definition of worry and how by defining worry in that manner you can actually stop worrying a lot. And then finally we talked about relaxation techniques in shavasana, practical relaxation, physical relaxation, imagery, breathing, etc. Now, having given you all these tips, it is up to you to focus on learning some of these relaxation techniques, because it is out of the scope of this video to actually do so. If people feel they need to do that and they need advice from here for us to have a session on practical relaxation, maybe we can consider that in a future series where we talk about relaxation and have 4 or 5 sessions of 30 minutes each, where we actually teach you relaxation through the videos, but that's a different ball game altogether. Now that you know all this, it is up to you to apply some of these things. Now, you cannot apply everything, but you can definitely learn to relax. You can use techniques to relax. You can change your attitude to worry. You can improve your stress management habits and thus gain yourself in terms of better abilities to cope with stress through relaxation. And if you do this for 3 months, then it becomes a part and parcel of you, and over time you find that you're capable of doing it regularly without thinking. And this is then setting you on the path to becoming freer from disease. Freedom from disease pathway is now becoming clear. Because if you can reduce your heart rate by 1 beat per minute, if you reduce your breathing rate by 1 beat per minute, you're definitely optimizing the body a lot more, and you're on that path. A bit about me. I practice from Pune. I've got an acupuncture natural therapy clinic. I teach Surya Namaskar. It takes us 8 hours over 8 weeks to teach Surya Namaskar properly. We have 70 plus levels of difficulty. We are in the process of bringing science to naturopathy. I'm a Shivambu practitioner and an expert at it, so I propagate that a lot. We are offering a free internet clinic for the last 4 or 5 years, where people can contact me on email and I try to connect with them and give them advice that can help them in their health. Presently that's going worldwide and a lot of people are benefiting, at least that's what they tell me. And now we are looking at this series on health, where we are propagating freedom from disease, and we are coming to you with different topics every week. We are halfway there and we are getting a good response, and this goes on for another couple of months. So we expect that all of you would like to listen, understand, bring it into your life, bring change to your life, and hopefully head towards becoming freer from disease. On this note, let me say goodbye to you. Thank you very much. Bye-bye, and I'll catch up with you next week.
Thank you, Anand Bapat, for your valuable information on health. This series is a 15 to 22 part series on developing oneself into a healthy person. This series will educate, guide, and provide support through our online educational and support services to enhance your health. All queries are welcome on the following email.
Download app Health Siren for all health solutions at your doorstep.